My passion is stories. When I was a little girl, I always had my nose in a book. Loved, loved, loved stories, loved movies, still love stories and movies. And I realize now, as a therapist, that the reason that I love them so much is because they have real power. They speak to our souls. And what I love most in my work is helping you to change the story that you're telling yourself. So first of all, you have to recognize the story that you're telling yourself, and most people don't. We tell ourselves bad stories all the time. And think about it, when you were a little kid and you wanted the same book over and over and over again, like Goodnight Moon or whatever it was, you picked a good story. You didn't pick the books that made you scared, or if you did, your parents should have told you not to do that. But we tell ourselves scary stories. For example, somebody breaks up with us and we tell ourselves the story that they did that because we're a rotten person and who would want us anyway. And we really believe that story. That story is a surface story. And you get down deeper, which is what I do with hypnotherapy, and you find out that, oh, well, in here was this old story that perhaps you've forgotten about how you were treated when you were a child. And in that story, there was something wrong with you because people were treating you badly. And you made the seemingly logical conclusion that it must be because there was something wrong with you. You carried that story forward, but you carried it in your unconscious mind. And so in hypnotherapy, we go in and we find out what is that bad story that you're telling yourself. And then we change the story because it was never a true story. Once we change the story, you begin to believe that you're a good person. You begin to expect good things to happen to you, and you begin to see changes in your outer world. That's the power of changing your story. And it can be used in so many different circumstances. For example, working with phobias. One of the things that I used to be terrified about was mice. I know, I'm the lady on this chair that's screaming, and the truth is, if a mouse comes in the room, I'm probably going to still get my feet up off the floor. But I'm not as terrified as I used to be because I had helped through hypnotherapy to find out what was the story I was telling myself. In my case, it goes back to a past life experience where I'm being eviscerated by rats. And I could still, when I think about them, I do this thing because it's locked in my body. But in changing that story, I let go of that trauma, and I also accessed another story where the mice were my friends. I was a little girl and I was feeding them. And so now if I think about them, I can switch my mind to that more positive story, and it's just like, oh, okay, I can be all right with it. And I can't tell you how profound that shift is for me, because it really was a terror in my life before that. I've had other people who have, I worked with someone who had the fear of flying, and she really wanted to go and visit her family, but she had to get on a plane to do it. So she had to access the story that she was telling herself, and in her case, she discovered she had a story about she's all alone, she has to fly alone, and she added the dimension of how horrible it is to be alone, and nobody loves me, and all the layers of where that belief comes from. So we created a new story for her where she identified with an egret, which for her was a powerful animal, and she had a very beautiful experience that she'd had of seeing egrets, and so she could imagine herself as an egret, and we even took it into the comedy layer because she saw herself as an egret walking in little high heels on the egret feet, walking up onto the airplane, and the stewardess is welcoming the egret and giving the egret a little drink with an umbrella, and so she was just laughing her way through imagining the trip on the plane. And now flying is no issue for her. It's comfortable and it's funny because she has a new story, a story that has this illustrated character of an egret that she's identifying with. So those are just a couple of examples. I could go on and on and on and on and on and on, and I love to do that. But that's what I enjoy in my practice, is finding out what is your story that's not working for you, changing the story so you have something powerful to move forward with, and then watching your life change as a result.